One of the most powerful features of Android Studio is the integration that it has with a layout editor. This is what's going to allow you to take your code and connect it to a UI to make a very compelling and easy to navigate app. So if you look here, there's a res folder. It stands for resources. And in our Java file, when we have this activity, you'll notice that in the onCreate method, we have this thing called setContentView. And it says R layout activity layout. Well, that R layout activity layout actually corresponds to this resources folder, then the folder layout, and sure enough, activity layout. It's basically the same thing here as it is here, but without the XML extension. So, by setting this particular content view to be this layout, I'm combining this activity to use this particular UI. So why would we use XML to describe a UI experience? Well, trying to type out programmatically what types of squares and shapes and colors to show to the user, that's a lot of work. We need a little bit of a shortcut. And what Android does is it allows us to describe things in XML that'll later be turned into an r.layout.activityLayout object that we can reference and use. Be sure, by the way, that you never ever fall for any messages in the studio that ask you to try to import R. Sometimes when Gradle is first coming up and trying to compile things, it might give you an error before it's actually parsed your layout. In fact, even if you have errors in your layout, it may not correctly parse R. But its suggestion will be to import it. Don't do that. Make sure that R is never up here in your imports at all. It's something created at runtime, and if it's not showing up, or it's showing up with the squiggly lines in red, it just means you need to fix your layouts. So let's go over some basics on how to actually use them. Right now I have something called a linear layout. It's a view grouping. It's something that actually holds the container for things. If you see here, I'm going to go ahead and create a text view. And I'm going to have to set two things for any view. Its width and its height. Now you can actually specify pixels or dp or other units of measure, but you really don't want to do that. Watch as I say match parent here. And I'm actually going to also use another piece here to say that I actually want to specify some text for this text view. And you'll see it right here. Now, the reason why it's more important to describe things relatively like this, as in, hey, I'm a text view nested inside this linear layout. I want my width and height to match whatever my parent layout is, in this case the linear layout. And in the linear layout's case, it actually was matching the parent of the device. Android is so prolific, and we don't know what kind of device a user might be using our particular app on. Each of these have different dimensions and DPIs. And the best way for us to actually be able to make something that's going to look consistent across all experiences is to describe things as relative as possible.